So guys, we've recently talked about the amazing games that have entered the VR sphere so far this year, and while they have served as a nice appetizer for what could turn out to be an enormous year for VR gaming, we now turn our attention to the main course. And as such, it's time to take a look at a few titles to keep an eye out for. Welcome to the simulation inside the simulation. I am Tooodamngolden, your VR Voyager, and today we'll be taking a look at 8 upcoming 2024 VR releases to watch out for. So just a quick preface for today's video, I am solely highlighting a few titles that I am personally hype about, and they are in no particular order, guys. But with that being said, in at number 8 today is Wanderer: The Fragments of Fate, which is a reimagining of 2022's underappreciated PC VR gem Wanderer, and is said to incorporate a host of new gameplay features, such as the ability to swim, as well as new breathtaking visuals that only add to this one's immersive qualities. And for those of you who never had the opportunity to play the original Wanderer, you are in for an absolute treat, as the original Wanderer was one of those I get it now moments for me in VR, as the level of immersion and wonder with this one was truly breathtaking. So here's to hoping that the gameplay and performance improvements truly do take this time-jumping adventure to greater heights, as this one now has an official release date of September 12th, recently announced. It will be coming our way, and I will definitely be keeping my eyes out for this one. The game in at number 7, Into the Radius 2, should feel very familiar to veterans of the VR gaming space, as Into the Radius was an absolute monster hit in our community, being praised for its bleak atmosphere, genuinely frightening enemies, and the attention to detail paid to the little things in this open world horror survival title. Into the Radius 2 promises to take all the things that made part 1 so amazing and ramp them up to a new level with the addition of up to 4-player co-op at launch, as well as the promise of more varied environments to explore, and of course plenty of horrifying anomalies to combat. I personally cannot wait to dive back into the Patrol security zone and explore what Into the Radius 2 has to offer, as the early access for Steam players is going on this summer, with a full release slated for late 2025. So guys, be sure to be on the lookout for Into the Radius 2. Transitioning over to number 6 is VR So Bare Knuckle Fighting, which personally is my most anticipated 2024 release, as this one promises to bring a full-fledged hyper-realistic fighting experience to VR in the vein of a true UFC title. Virtual Reality Sports Organization, or VRSO for short, has been described by developer Monologic as part of their vision to create the highest quality sports games complete with realistic physics to match, and right from the very first announcement trailer, I have been hooked on getting my hands on this one, as it is set to boast not only a comprehensive single-player mode, a tournament complete with a backstory, where the gamer will be tasked with defeating 16 different opponents in an effort to become champion of the VRSO League, but also ranked and casual PvP online gameplay that will let gamers really show off their skills, also taking place in real-world abandoned locations that, at least from what we've seen so far, look great thanks to the use of photogrammetry technology to really make VRSO Bare Knuckle Fighting a potential juggernaut realized for the VR space, and it's currently slated for an October release. So guys, be sure to keep your eyes out for this one. Cracking into the top 5 today is a game that I've already featured on this channel before in this video right here, as Skydance's Behemoth is arguably the biggest VR release of the year, as this is being developed by the same team that crafted the wildly successful Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and is certainly an aspirational project to say the least. Initially being showcased last year, Skydance's Behemoth has been described as a journey where gamers will take on the role of a diseased wanderer lost in the frigid forsaken lands, tasked with overcoming a litany of dangerous environments, deadly warriors, and towering behemoths using immersive, weighty VR combat and lifelike physics. And for those of you who have been following this one, the amazing duo of trailers that has been shown look absolutely fantastic, with the sheer scale of everything looking to equal, if not surpass, Asgard's Wrath 2 in grandiosity, and the fact that this once again is being produced by a veteran VR development studio with Skydance Interactive handling this one definitely make this one to watch. And while Behemoth currently doesn't have a concrete release date, it is currently being slated allegedly to drop fall 2024, so make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all things Behemoth. So the number 4 game today is the first of a trio of established AAA franchises on today's countdown, and Metro Awakening was the first of the 3 to be announced, fresh off the heels of the very well made Metro VR mod being pulled down, and this announcement absolutely rocked the VR world, as not only are we getting a very well established and beloved franchise in VR, but from all accounts so far, this is actually going to be the real deal, as this is a brand new built for VR experience that is actually a prequel to the original Metro, and we'll get the opportunity to enjoy the dark, damp subways of Moscow from a whole new perspective. Playing as Serdar, a doctor on a quest to find medication for your sick wife following nuclear Armageddon, Vertigo Games has promised us a unique narrative adventure that blends atmospheric exploration, stealth, and combat in what is being described as the most immersive Metro experience yet, and this of course is all under the direction of the author of the novel, Mr. Dmitry Glufkovsky, who is, according to insiders, very intimately involved in the narrative in Metro Awakening, which should bode well for us VR fans, as Metro Awakening should be a huge release for the space and is expected to drop late 2024. In at number 3 is yet another major franchise making its virtual reality debut, as Alien Rogue Incursion is set to add yet another high-stakes horror title to the world of VR, and following the highly successful release of 2014's Alien Isolation, it was a bit of a collective shock to the gaming community to see that the next entry into this franchise was in fact a made-for-VR only game, but for us VR fanatics, it was music to our ears, as Alien Rogue Incursion is, at least by looking at the very limited gameplay footage, set in the same vein as Isolation, with the addition of true immersion thanks to the wonders of VR, and I for one am absolutely here for that shit. Not much else is known at the moment about this one, as we've only gotten 2 trailers, one with the tiniest bit of gameplay imaginable in it, but here's to hoping that the absolutely stellar gameplay from Alien Isolation carries over, and guys, I am all in on Alien Rogue Incursion being yet another big name series coming to VR, and we'll definitely be watching this one as it progresses. So in at number 2 and completing our trio of AAA titles is the recently announced Batman Arkham Shadow, and to say that this announcement was a divisive one would be an understatement, as Arkham Shadow's announcement trailer was absolutely downvoted to hell by, quite frankly, bitter grown men who still think that they're, well, actually Batman. With the release trailer seeing a 1 to 2 like to dislike ratio solely to the fact that this one is headed only to VR later this holiday season. But don't let those salty ass bat boys bring you down, folks, as while there isn't a whole lot of information surrounding this one that has been made public, all I need to know is that A, it's Batman, B, it's being handled by the same amazing studio who brought us Iron Man VR, Camouflage, so I don't think quality will be an issue, and C, if nothing else, I will be playing this one for no other reason than to do what all of those other VR haters can't. Enjoy this brand new built for VR Batman title that smells of peak Arkhamverse gameplay, because VR is dope, the hate in your heart will get you nowhere, and well, bro, it's fucking Batman. So closing out today's countdown, our number 1 game today is Aran Age, a severely underpromoted, underhyped, and undertalked about upcoming VR action-adventure fantasy title, courtesy of the boys over at VirtuVS VR. Projected to touch headsets in Q3 of this year, Aran Age sees the world set in the Biochasm, which according to the team is a terraformed fantasy world created by a figure known as the Grand Arborist, where players will engage in full physics combat using Arcanite-infused swords and guns. And guys, this one looks amazing. From the early trailer, it appears that Aran Age will boast a fast-paced combat system that will have players both practicing those perfect headshots during ranged combat and simultaneously perfecting your swordplay in those more up close and personal sequences. And while much like a lot of the games on today's countdown, not too much is known about Aran Age, we do know a few things, and one of the things that we do know is that there will be 3 fully customizable weapons with 30 different mods mods available to play around with, as well as some semblance of a crafting system present for syringes and things of the like. And according to VirtuVS VR, Aran Age has over 10 hours of campaign and includes an endless combat mode for unlimited replayability, which in my opinion makes Aran Age look like one of those VR single player experiences that could really be great, and solely going off of company promises and my own eyes with regards to the trailer shown, I am sold, as Aran Age looks like the next great VR smash hit. And speaking of hits, if you did enjoy today's video, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell me in the comments below which 2024 VR release are you most excited about. As always, I am Tooodamngolden, your VR Voyager, and thanks for joining me in the simulation inside the simulation.